Welcome to How to Dance with a Partner. Like and subscribe. This is the pass with an underarm turn. This is the third of our 5-6 count figures for our West Coast swing. As usual, we will do an overview, then look at the ladies' footwork, the man's footwork, how to lead and follow, and any other details. So let's start by just looking at what the figure is. When my baby comes home. We will count for you. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. This is the same figure as the side pass, except the man goes to his left instead of to his right, and the lady goes underneath the arm. The lady's footwork is the same as the side pass. You should look at the previous video, the lady's left turn, for details about the lady's footwork. As always, there's no use of force. Let's take another look. So the man went to his left. In the side pass, he went to his right. And he just lifts the arm so she can go underneath. She just goes underneath the arm. She's doing her left turn footwork here, just like she did in the side pass. And they both finish on 4. And we'll watch from this angle. Again, he's going back into his left. Steps back in front. Now we'll look at the lady's footwork briefly. 1, that's her walk. 2, now she does her side cross finish. Okay, so she kind of just did a little triple here. That's okay. How she does it's up to her. We do want our beginners to do more of a side cross finish. And a triple step. But she crossed in front. That's the main thing. And again, from this angle. So that she did more of a side cross finish. And she's turned around by 4 when she's finished so she can do 5 and 6 in place. What we don't want to see is the lady still facing this way in 4. We want them to be finished by 4, facing the other way. 5 and 6. So let's look one more time from this angle so I can point that out. There was a time when people were teaching this. We don't want you to do it. The lady keeps walking forward and she doesn't turn until 5 and 6. We want you to turn right away. So on 4, you're facing back this other way. Now that's your basic. Turning later, it is the lady's choice, and you can do it. But we don't want you to do it as a matter of habit or that's your basic. We want you to do this as your basic. Finish on 4. And then do 5 and 6 in place. Last time for the ladies' footwork. Turn around, ladies. Don't keep walking straight through that underarm turn. 4. This is 4. You should be finished. 5 and 6 in place. The man's footwork. He's going to step back into his left. Now remember, all his steps are the same except his first step. On the first step, he steps either straight back or to either side. The fourth step is always back inside finishing. Let's look at his footwork. Back and to the left, together on 2, rock and step back in front on 3 and. So he just did a tap, that's okay, but for our beginners we want you to do the rock and. 4, step back in front on 4, 5 and 6 in place, 5 and 6. 1, step out of the way, 2, 3 and. This time I'm doing it as a good example for beginners. 4, we step back in front. And 5 and 6. Let's see about one more time. 1, out of the way. 2 together. 3 and then step back in front 4. 3, rock and 4, step back in front. The last 2 were pretty good. Then 5 and 6 in place. Let's talk about the leading and following, the communication, and some other details. Looking at how to lead and follow this figure, we know from my book there are only 4 leads. Go straight, turn in place, go straight and turn, and to walk around in a circle. Here, we are asking the lady to go straight and turn. Now in every dance, when we ask the lady to go straight, you can think of the dancers as dancing on a railroad track, with the lady dancing in the middle of the track and the man dancing on the rails. When he first asks her to come forward, this establishes the lady's line of dance, going straight down her line or the middle of the track. And if he wants her to go past him, he needs to get out of her way. This applies to every dance, not just West Coast swing. We can easily see this in West Coast swing because all the dancers in West Coast swing line up and have the track in the same direction most of the time. So let's take a look here. As always, there's no use of force. So the first thing he does is he asks her to come forward. There. So this is now her line of dance, and she knows she's going to do all her steps on this line. Here he's asked her to turn, and she turns around. So that's the language. Let's look at it again from this direction. He asks her to go straight. He asks her to turn to her left. Now, as always, there's no use of force. He's not pushing or pulling on her in any way. They're just passing a signal. And the way he does it, let's look at that. He settles right here on his back leg. And when he settles on his back leg, that moves the connection in this direction. They're not pulling on each other here. It's when he settles, she starts to come forward. Now he's settling at the end of the last figure, 5 and 6, on 6, so that she can come forward on 1. In swing dancing, when we want to do an underarm turn, the leader should get the hand up on 2, no later than 2. So the hand's up, and what he actually does is bring a hand a little closer to him so that when he brings it in this direction towards us, the viewer, he can rotate her. So he doesn't have to reach across her body to ask her to turn. And now she's already turning. He didn't have to reach all the way over here. So she's already knows she has to turn. As the hand goes over, there's no tension in the hand. Each person moves their own arms. And from this side, hand comes up and just a little bit this way, so he only has to move it an inch in the other direction to ask her to turn. I'll never have to worry. So the communication is simple. All the communication is simple because there's only 4 figures that we're communicating. We have some other details to look at here. When she's going to go under the arm, let's watch her turn. This hip over here and this shoulder are connected. This is fine, but it could be better. We want it to be better. So now that she knows she's turning, we actually want her looking this way with her head. See how her head is kind of looking the same direction as her midline here? The hips and shoulders are all aligned, and they're all kind of pointing this way. Maybe she's turned her head a little bit more, maybe slightly her upper body. But what we want to happen, this is already 1, 2, 3, and. So we're on and here. She's going to be turning on and. And we want her to get her head around as soon as she can. And we want this hand to come down over her head and her upper body to turn, even though her legs are going that way. So you see again, this is like a square here. And we want it to be like a spiral. We want her head, see the hand's still over here? We want that hand to come down sooner. She's keeping it up here. So she's not, he wants to move it down, but she is keeping it up here. So we want the hand to come down sooner. By this point, she should be looking that way, ideally. And her body should be turned a little bit more. What we're waiting on her upper body to turn is this hip on the side, and the hip turns slow. See, so she doesn't get her shoulders around until she gets her hips around. We'll watch from this direction. Okay, so she got around a little bit further with her head and her shoulders, I think, maybe. So her shoulders are this way and her hips are that way. So that's one more time. On the third one, see if she gets around a little faster. So this hand we want down here by now. And we want her, so her hip line of her hips and her line of the shoulders are still kind of the same. When the advanced dancers will get this hand down, the ladies, and they'll be looking this way when they're walking the other way. And I have some pictures of that, not here. Could start to be coming over. She could have her head turned a lot more. Her upper body could be turned more. So right now she's turning the whole thing as a big block. That's called disassociation. So we want all that looking this way first, and then want it to unravel like a spiral. So her object should be to turn fast. As soon as she gets that left foot down, or her head should actually turn earlier because she's turning. So she knows she's turning already right here, right, 2. We would want that head to be already turned, start turning. Even though her feet are going this way, her head should start, she should start trying to look over the shoulder here, and then let her upper body swing around. With my baby. Well, this is the difference between levels of dancers. They're all doing the same steps. They're all finishing on 4, right? That's good, all of it's good. But the more advanced dancers are getting their head and upper body around sooner. And this gives a lot more options for the leader, because then the leader could go under, say, and turn, or do some other things, and then both of them could do other stuff. One more thing to look at. Right here, their arms are soft. She has soft arms. So she's not fighting him here. But a lot of ladies fight right there, and they push back against the leader's hand. But she's not doing that. She doesn't do that. But a lot of ladies do. They push back against the leader's hand right there, and we don't want you to do that. This everything should be soft. It should all be soft. So he's able to bring the hand over. It's a little late because she's holding her hand high. And if he moved the hand sooner, they would have lost connection. When my baby comes home. That's all we have now for the ladies' underarm turn. Remember to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Visit us at www.partnerdancing.com. Sign up for our free newsletter.